This is Mike Laws from the statewide Democratic Black Caucus. We'd like to thank everybody for taking their time out, especially on a busy Friday. We understand that that is relaxed or party time, but believe it or not, since it is the last Friday before get out and vote, I know everybody's anxious and doing a variety of different things. So I really like to thank you guys for showing up. I'd like to actually turn it over to our hosts for this evening, our MCs doing double duty. We have the chair of the statewide Democratic Black Caucus, Ms. Karine Landauer, uh, who's going to do an excellent job, typically is our stream team, and our special guest. We have Maine Wayne Condor, who actually functioning and helping out in the hosting duties today. So without that, let me hand it over to Corinne. Corinne, can you turn on your mic?
Thank you so much, Chairman Laws. And good evening, Pennsylvania Democrats. This is going to be a webinar. So a few housekeeping items before we begin. Please note that this session will be recorded. Please remain muted unless you are called on. And in the interest of time, and with the focus on moving through all of the pertinent information that we have for you this Friday evening, if you do have a question, please put it in the chat. We will try to get to the questions that are put in the chat, but in the event that we are not able to answer your question on this call this evening, we will respond to your questions via email. And with that, I will introduce to you the only Black mayor in Bucks County, Mayor Wayne Condor, my stream team associate for the evening. Mayor Wayne.
Hello, Corinne, and hello, everybody. Hello, Democrats. Hello, Pennsylvania. Thank you for having me. I feel this is an honor, and especially when it comes to working with somebody like Corinne, I'm more than happy to be the a la carte side to her main course.
Well, thank you so much, Mayor Wayne. We are going to have a brief recap from members of our Progressive Caucus. So thank you so much for being here this evening. We're going to turn the floor over to April Niver and Sherry Morgan of the Progressive Caucus. So thank you for joining us, and the floor is yours.
Hi, thank you, Corinne. Hello, everybody. Thanks for showing up this evening. I'm Sherry Morgan, and I am the chair of the Progressive Caucus, the PA Dems Progressive Caucus, and I'm having allergies. So hopefully we'll get through this without me sneezing all over the place, right? All right. So I just want to thank you for coming. We also want to thank the Black Caucus for having this event this evening. And I want to send out a super big thanks to April Niver, who's put this presentation together. So we want to be kind. We want to be passionate and respectful of everyone. And we want to make sure that we're going to go over our organizational structure, how a caucus forms and grows, and we're going to be moving forward together. So we want to talk about that. Okie dokie, that's me. Organizational structure for the Democratic Party. You're like, most of you may know this already, but maybe some don't. So our party is made up of people, right? And people are living in their voting precincts. So these are voters. And out of some of these voters decide that they really want to work harder on party issues, and they become committee members, either area committee members, precinct members, and then they join their county committee. So I, for example, live in Franklin County, and I'm in Greencastle, and my precinct is Greencastle 2. I'm in a small rural county, so we don't have area committees. So I'm a precinct woman. I go directly to my county committee. I'm a county committee person, and then that's the only, I don't have an area committee, but other larger areas certainly do. From our county committee, we meet monthly, some meet more frequently. We have different standing committees, just like the state party. We'll get to that. And then people from our county committee, usually a couple of people in our county decide to run for state committee, and we want to represent our county and our voters at the state committee level. And at our state committee, we have people that in our elected officials, our executive team, our chair, vice chair, and some of our other DNC elected DNC members, they all go to the the Democratic National Committee, the DNC. And that's how it works up. So each one of these committees kind of reports or sends representatives to the next committee. So you work your way up. Now, the National Committee is interesting. We all have to follow the National Committee's bylaws. They set the policy for the entire group. The DNC was established in 1848, and you'll find out on the next slide that that is after state parties have been. Who's pushing the next slide?
Me.
Okay,
Sorry.
next slide. No problem.
Yeah, there we go. Now
there
it's
it
going
is.
to go far.
Okay. Anyway, so I missed that one. Go back. Anyway, so our DNC was established in 1848, and it's made up of all of the other state and territory state committees. And that's who shows up there. One of the things I want to let you know about the DNC, it has its own YouTube channel. So if you would, you have free time or whatever, you can go to the DNC, Democratic National Committee YouTube channel, and you can watch their meetings. Some of them are archived. Some of them you can watch in real time. And I think they meet 3 times a year. Of course, they have subcommittees and standing committees that meet, throughout the year at whatever scheduled times they have. And sometimes those are also on the YouTube channel. So if you'd like to learn more about them and how they function and who the players are, you can watch them on TV or on YouTube. Our leadership at the DNC right now our chair is Ken Martin. He was elected last February, or February 2025. Now this happens like every 4 years with right after the presidential election, we have a reorganization at the DNC and we get a new chair. Usually what happens is like the chair resigns, the old chair resigns, and then we get a new chair. So the membership of the DNC, like I said, it includes the chair and vice chair of every state Democratic Party, plus there are other members that are elected. Do we have 9? I think we might have 9 members that go to the DNC and represent us. The DNC is interesting. It has standing committees, and those standing committees are like rules and bylaws, and these things manage the goings on of the national party. And they also have some constituent caucuses too. So we have standing committees and constituent caucuses, and you're going to see this organizational structure copied by our state committee. All right. So there's Ken Martin. There's Malcolm Kenyatta. Go Malcolm, our guy. He's vice chair. And we have, did you have some more pictures? No, okay, no. Alrighty, so the PA Dems, oh my gosh, we were established in 1792 before the DNC. Well, naturally, that makes sense, right? You have a whole lot of state parties coming together, and they determined we should go ahead and start a national committee. So that's how this happened. This is why this is before our state party is older than our national party. So the members are elected by voters during the gubernatorial primary year. Okay. So every 4 years at this time, the gubernatorial primary year is when people are elected to state committee. Now, you have to be a registered Democrat to do that. You do not have to be a county committee person or anything like this. Any Democrat can run to be a state committee person. It's tougher in some counties than others. I'm in a rural county. We have 24,000 registered Democrats, and usually we're begging someone to run. Who wants to run for state committee? In our county, we only get 1 state committee man and 1 state committee woman. Now, in other counties where much larger numbers of Democrats, they will be apportioned many more committee members. And oftentimes these are contentious races, and you'll have you might have 20 people running for the 14 spots or something. So it can be pretty intense in some of those counties. Like I said, in other counties, we're just begging people to run. The state committee also includes a state chair, vice chair. Now, this is going to be interesting because this reorganization also happens right after the new members are elected, and which is kind of hard to do when you don't know the people, and now you're being asked to vote for your executive team. So it's kind of hard. We have an executive committee. It's a much smaller body. We get members on the executive committee come from each regional caucus. And the regional caucuses, just like it sounds, regional caucus, these are bodies of representatives from each part of the state. So like there's a Northeast caucus. I'm in the South Central caucus. And I think we have 6 or 7 counties in my caucus. And so you send members from the regional caucuses to make up the executive committee. And then there are other committees, the standing committees, just like the DNC has. The state party also has standing committees, rules and bylaws, campaign and candidate development, financial, affirmative action, diversity. We have a lot of committees, but we also have constituency caucuses. And that's what the Progressive Caucus and the Black Caucus and the Labor Caucus and the Women's Caucus, the LGBTQ Caucus, the Asian and Pacific Islander Caucus, the Latino Caucus, the Labor, there's a whole bunch of them.
And the Climate Caucus.
The Climate
Climate
Caucus. Right. There are many of them. These are constituency caucuses. So there's a lot of committees and caucuses and people at state committee. Okay, Eugene D. Pasquale is our current chair, and Peggy Grove is our current vice chair. This will be until June. Okie doke. Next. Okay, at the county level, remember that's kind of the most basic, where the precinct people are elected to go to the county levels. Your structure there is, like I said, can be divided up into areas or regions. And the county committees are very similar to the state committee, which is similar to the DNC. Remember, it all kind of matches. You can have subcommittees, standing committees like bylaws, fundraising, candidate recruitment, voter registration, communications. Communications is a big one. So that's what county committees are like that. Precinct committee people, these are people who are voted from out of their polling place area, their precinct or ward. This is, so like in my precinct, I have 245 Democrats in my precinct. So I'm the precinct woman for my precinct. And we have gender parity. So we have a precinct woman and a precinct man that represents those 245 voters at our county level. Okie doke. So it's my job to get to know who my 245 people are. I have 4 years to get to know them. We canvass, we knock on their doors at least twice a year. We're on the phone with them. My son is also the committee man. We put out a little newsletter. So we try to keep in touch with our 240 Democrats or 45 Democrats. And that's what a precinct person does. And we take that information to our county committee, and then we try to advocate for the different issues that might be happening in our area. And then also our big job is to recruit candidates for office, for elected office, like county commissioner or state rep, state senator, this type of thing. School board's a huge one for us. So that's what precinct people do. How we reorganize, we're going to go kind of quick because I don't want to eat up all this time. When we reorganize, we do that, like I said, every 4 years during the gubernatorial election year. Okie doke. And then after everybody's elected at the end of May, then like 6 weeks later, it's according to a bylaw, we go ahead and meet in late May, early June, and we bring all the new committee people on. Same thing with state committee. Everybody gets reorganized and they show up. And you all get to meet each other. Like I said, it happens every 4 years. Okay, next. Every 4 years, we get a new executive board. How a caucus forms and grows. So how did we end up with a progressive caucus or a Black caucus or a labor caucus or a rural caucus? That's another big one. Someone decides, I think we need a climate caucus, by God. And then you put together a petition and you walk it around all of the state committee people, either by phone or email, or you physically meet with them at a state committee meeting, and you collect signatures on a petition that says, we voters want to have, we state committee members want to have a new caucus. And then, of course, you have to do all that good work. You have to come up with bylaws and a mission statement and a vision and all these things. So one of the things that we've done with the Progressive Caucus is we have something called the People's Room. And everyone is invited, well, Democrats, all Democrats are invited to come to the People's Room. We have this at state committee meetings. And that's where a lot of people get together and they talk about things that they'd like. So for example, people wanting to have a climate caucus. And so they talked about it in the People's Room, and then they developed that through there. So anyway, our Progressive Caucus was started in 2011, and we went ahead and got the signatures, put together the bylaws. We established a mission. Here's our mission as a Progressive Caucus. We aim to put these core values into practice, and we promote educational opportunities that deepen the understanding of the needs of our communities, and we strengthen our party. So that's something that, each one of our caucuses has this type of founding documents. Our mission statement, we have that, and then we have our vision statement. Oh, our vision statement. I have to back up to my vision statement. We want to, it keeps saying mission. Okay. Well, we hold ourselves and our elected representatives accountable. We want to increase transparency. One of the ways we, in the Progressive Caucus, one of the ways we work to get things done and establish what's important about issues that we like or that we support is that we introduce resolutions. One of the things that we do is someone will come and say, there's a lot of difficulties with fracking. Or someone will say, we really do need marriage equality. Or someone will say, we really need to say something forceful about ICE. And so our members develop, they'll write up a resolution that says, like, whereas this is carrying on and happening, we the signed members below, we want to resolve this problem, and this is how we want to do it. And then we try to get other signatures. We get support for these resolutions among the state committee members. And then we hopefully, the bylaws committee, we submit it to the bylaws committee. It goes through a process of having your resolution approved in order to be voted on at a state committee meeting. And so sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't, but that's what we do in our caucus. We kind of focus on resolutions. So now April's going to tell you about what happens, in our People's Room and how we talk to each other and what our goals are.
Yeah, thank you,
April.
Sherry. This has been fun, and I'll try to keep it within time. I think I have 10 more minutes. Yeah. Thank you, Corinne. Yep. And so this is about how we move forward together. And there's been other ways that we've partnered in the past, like we held Progressive Caucus and the Black Caucus held a shindig together, right? DJ, karaoke, dance party, and my favorite. And then we talk a lot, I think, together and come to each other's events. And we have this path that we're on together, and we work in circles together, and sometimes those circles get bigger and sometimes they get smaller. But as we're together within this mirrored triangle, is sometimes we wonder whether things are going from the bottom up or the top down. And the answer is both, I think. right? Like we inform each other, and then that gives the circle motion. That's what helps it become a ball from here. Because we're moving inside of it and we're talking to each other and we're taking in our lives into account. And sometimes whenever we talk to each other about issues and our vision for the future, there's this dissonance, which is usually uncomfortable, right? It's the tension of, in whenever you're having discourse and you're trying to come to an agreement, right? Or it's a clash between ideas. And sometimes we talk about cognitive dissonance, where people kind of are ignoring their cognitive flaw in what they believe, like you can see it two ways, and that is the beautiful flexibility of the human mind, right? It's just being able to move. That is something that's a big part of our path together, right? Because we want quality leadership in the public square, where you need a strategy for the win and a soul for the work. And it took me a while to think about it like that, but I think that it is a lifestyle because it's something that you need to do to live in your community. You have a voice, you have abilities, use it. Right? And you might say, why? The greater good, who cares? I'm in it for me, might be one view. And well, why is that not so good? Well, because all that fades away. And it's more meaningful to be there for people, I think, than to have something. And we can tell these stories that we have in our networks of service, that we live together on this path of our lives. So we're going to grow the soul in our democratic community. I think that's a good way forward. We all have roles, we all have responsibilities in the many hats that we wear. We are all in these groups and committees and organizations, like multiple, right? And it might be for a democratic community or a parallel organization, or you might be in a nonprofit, you might work for government yourself, you're in a foundation, and you're connecting with all these people in your life in so many ways, at the local, county, regional, state. You're thinking about it, you're thinking about the future, and you have a story to share, and you have a vision of what this world can be together. So I'm asking people to come forward, meet us on the path, and be the change. Be a good neighbor. Where does it start? It starts with you. How do you connect with people to talk about these things? You go knock on the door of the house next to you, and you say, hey, neighbor, let's talk. I'm here to remind you that there's an election. I'm here to tell you about a big event that's happening downtown, or that the city council is going to vote on something that will impact our neighborhood, because it's us, like it's you and me, neighbor. This is who this decision is about. Let's go participate in it. And so you check on them, make sure they're okay whenever there's bad weather, and you distribute your slate cards, and you tell them to get out and vote. So people say, I'm in the Democratic committee now. Someone wrote me in. What do I do? Well, that's what you do. Right? You're in charge of those 240 something people, or whatever's in your precinct, and try to get to know them. I know it's hard sometimes. So whenever you talk to them, you share your stories about why you care, why this is a meaningful issue for you. And I think whenever you can tell them, like, I'm here to talk to you about this election because, and then give a reason that's important to you and the people you care about, and how it will make their lives better, or how it's meaningful to you to just be able to be there for them. Like I feel like I'm helping out my family by coming and talking to you. I feel like I'm helping out this state by coming to talk to you right now. And I think that when stories are from the heart and they're vulnerable, or you're showing yourself that, then that's where you can really reach someone else to connect on that level. And that's where it moves the mind, in my opinion. So stories from the heart move the mind. And we just stay connected and we just keep telling stories, right? Stay connected, keep your context going. I'm sure there's a couple people. Oh, I did get one where they were like, stop, because I kept sending them flyers by text, to events like this one. I'm like, okay. They'll tell you. And you, when you do that, you create this network of people who are involved and interested and want to know and want to care and want to give and want to know what they can do in this crazy, messed up, upside down world to make a difference. That's why a bunch of people are running for Congress, and you're going to hear from them next, right? Like, we feel it so deep that we're willing to go out of our way to do things that are hard because we care. And I think that's where you can do that good stuff, like, you're collecting for the food pantry, you're having like this group show up at a downtown business to help them stay together. You're doing things that educate and inform. I know that just speaking out here in Northampton County, in Easton, people were able to stop like a warehouse from going in, and it's because people networked, and it didn't have to be the Democratic committee. We shared each other's information. It's like a cross-pollination of flowers in the spring, and we grow together. But you got to avoid burnout at all costs, right? It's a marathon, not a sprint. I know we got a lot of people who've been with us a really long time in the Democratic Party, and I honor them because I'm so impressed with their stamina and their grit. I'm like, wow, I hope I can keep it together that long.
Thank
So
you,
you
Ms.
do
April.
what
We
you
have
can.
about 1 more minute with your presentation, ma'am.
Yep, thank you. So you do what you can, where you can, when you can, for whom you can, because you can. Right? You help yourself first. Go back to that one. You could help yourself first, and then you help the people next to you. Okay. So here we go to the Q&A. Do we have any questions in the chat?
Not at this time.
Okay. So on this path together, I'll just say, I hope that we can move towards justice, right? So
Thank you.
be excellent to each other.
Well, thank you so much to you, Sherry Morgan and April Niver of the Progressive Caucus. You are invoking spring and the pollination of flowers. And so I personally appreciate that. Thank you so much. And
7 p.m.
be the change, be a good neighbor, stay connected, be the connectors, and create a network of contacts. Be involved and do good things. I think those are words to live by, and thank you so much for bringing those to us this evening. And so on behalf of the statewide Democratic Black Caucus, we want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Everybody could have been anywhere this evening, this Friday evening, and we thank you for joining us for this really critical, important topic, which is the state of our democracy. And so we want to thank the only Black mayor of Bucks County, Mayor Wayne Codner, and Chairman Michael Laws. Thank you so much for putting this together, Chairman. And we will bid you adieu after this final video from Senator Shree Street.